I need help. I've gained 50 pounds. I don't know what to do. One of my friends came to me sharing with me that she'd gained 50 pounds and she was so distraught and she needed support. One of the things I've found in advising and researching the top 1% and 2% of millionaires is the fact that maintaining our ideal weight is critical to the confidence we have. Being able to work with affluent clients, being able to work with successful people also is largely impacted by our confidence, which is impacted by our weight. And so it's such a personal topic, and it's so hard when you're in that span of saying, how did this get so out of control? You know, it starts with 5 pounds, then it's 10 pounds, and before you know it's 50 pounds. One of our mastermind members said, Annette, you travel so much, how do you maintain your ideal weight? And what it got me thinking is, we need to maintain our ideal weight whether we're traveling or whether we're staying in our office and working, because it's so critical to how we show up. It's critical to how we feel, whether we feel depressed or whether we feel motivated or inspired, whether we feel confident when we're dealing with people, and all of the above. So if you want to learn how to gain more confidence and how to weigh your ideal weight, you're going to love today's episode. Now, one thing I will say, as you get older, you know, you hit 40, it's tough, you hit 50, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, everything you look at, you gain weight on. But I want to teach you today some things you can do that have been really impactful, not only to me, but to our mastermind members. One of the things I find fascinating, we were on one mastermind call, and literally we had one member lose 40 pounds, another one lost 20, 2 lost 15, 3 lost 7. And people are like, are you now doing weight training? No, but what I teach is how to get in the driver's seat of your business and your life so that you can weigh your ideal weight and you can have your dream business. That, my friends, is where it all comes together. So I'm Annette Bau, the host of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I've been advising and researching the top 1% and 2% of millionaires to learn what millionaires with amazing lives do differently in their business, their life, and with their money. And now I'm providing you practical, easy to implement insights so that you can create a profitable business and a financially free life you love. And today we're diving into increasing confidence by maintaining your weight. Before we dive in, please click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified of episodes, and then go down and comment. Share one thing you're going to take away from this episode. I know weight can be tough. Believe me, I get it. The great part about my life is that when I was younger, I was a lot heavier than I am. And I've learned how to maintain it. I've learned how to really work with it and to weigh my ideal weight so I feel great. And that's what I want to share with you. If you want access to today's show notes and the different links, you can go to millionaireseries.com/133. For all show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/MI. All materials and intellectual property are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or healthcare professional. Before starting any plan, whether it's investment, whether it's healthcare, tax, retirement, anything, consult with your own team of advisors. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved, and all international copyrights are reserved. One of the most important things you've got to do when it comes to really taking your business to the next level. Today we're talking about confidence, and gaining confidence when it comes to working with affluent clients is critical. But one of the other things that's critical is learning how to leverage what you're doing. You can go to millionaireseries.com/AWG and download our special Get Your Share of Affluent Women and Couples guide. This guide literally walks you through the step-by-step of what you need to do to upgrade your clients. Again, millionaireseries.com/AWG. One of the interesting insights I've seen from successful people is that they understand that you can make something really simple. You can focus on working with somebody who's really qualified versus having to work with a ton of people. And one of the things this guide is going to share with you is how to do that. Again, millionaireseries.com/AWG. So let's talk about some of the ways in which confidence can affect you. One is your nervousness before you go to a meeting. You know, if you don't weigh your ideal weight or you lack confidence in other areas, you get a lot more nervous when you go to a meeting because you're a lot more focused on what are they going to think? Are they going to judge me? I mean, let's face it. The sad part about our country is we do face a lot of criticism if we're overweight. And it's one of the things where I look at other countries and they always comment on, oh, Americans are so overweight. And it's a problem. It's a problem not only being judged by people in this country, but outside of it. So we've got to be able to get to a position where we can feel really confident. It also causes us to procrastinate. We don't do the activities we need to do because we lack the confidence. And then there's inertia. We don't follow up. We don't do the things that are going to move the bar forward. So there are a lot of ways in which a lack of confidence occurs, but one of the things you're going to find is that by getting in the driver's seat of your business and your life, not only are you going to weigh your ideal weight, but you're also going to have amazing results in your business, and that's where it becomes super exciting. So let's dive into the training I did as far as weighing your ideal weight, and then when you circle back around, I'm going to give you some more insight that I've learned since that training. Some things that I have learned from my research, from my neuroscience research, you're going to love. So let's dive in. In talking with a variety of people, they said it's so hard to travel and not gain weight. And so I said, okay, let's talk about that. So the first thing we've got to do overall, whether we're on vacation or not, is we've got to know what is our ideal weight. And what I like to do is I like to determine the ideal weight, add 5 pounds and subtract 5 pounds, and that's your range. So if your ideal weight's 125, your range is between 120 and 130. You don't go above 130, and ideally you don't go below 120. So once you know what your ideal weight is, you're at least in an era or in a space where you can identify when you get out of the range so you can do something about it. Ideally what you want to do is you want to be weighing yourself first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening. That's just to determine what your fluctuation is. If you become really paranoid about it, then don't obsess about it. This is just for your own information. I know that my range per day is between 2 and 4 pounds. And so sometimes if you drink a lot more liquids, it's going to be higher, or if you've eaten too much food, it's going to be higher. But again, it gives you your range of where you're at, and that's helpful for you to stay on task. The next thing you want to do is you want to get plenty of sleep. Now I know when you're on vacation it can be very difficult. Where we were staying at one of the places, anything that had an ocean view, it was a U shape, and the band played downstairs and they started playing at like 10 o'clock at night. So it was very difficult to get to bed between 9 and 10. So granted, you're getting to bed closer to 11 or midnight, but the key is then what you want to do is either take a nap or sleep in, but you want to make sure you're getting adequate sleep. Sleep is so critical when it comes to maintaining your weight and to being present and conscious, which is critical to maintaining your weight at any point in time. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. I recommend 50% of your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 140 pounds, you want to drink 70 ounces of water, which is basically about, if 8 ounces in a cup, what, about 9, 10, somewhere around that, 9 glasses. So just be aware of that and try to maintain that. You want to drink alcohol in moderation. Ideally, wine is better than beer or food drinks. One of the places we stayed was an all-inclusive, and I literally saw some people who literally were drinking foo-foo drinks like there was no tomorrow. Now, if you want to have a foo-foo drink, have a foo-foo drink. But when you're having 4, 5, or 6, or 7, I mean, those calories add up. So again, just be aware of it. If you're trying to maintain your weight, just be aware of it and alternate maybe a water in between, maybe a bubbled water in between, a spritzer, a wine spritzer, a glass of wine, anything like that is going to be better than if you're drinking hard alcohol or beer. The next thing is don't eat when you're starving. One of the things I've learned about myself, and granted, I weigh less than I did in high school and I'm in better shape, is that I used to wait until I was so hungry that I was just like gulping food. So when you eat, you want to be conscious. You want to be chewing your food. Ideally, you chew it 50 chews per bite. If you ever get sick and you go to a retreat or a special center, they're going to have you chewing it 200 bites. So just start with 10, 15, get up to 50, but it makes you much more present, and what you find is you're going to get full a lot faster. And then I recommend, ideally you eat at 5 or 6, but a lot of times that's difficult. So try to eat before 7, especially when you're on a vacation, and then don't eat after that. Ideally, if you can go get some exercise, go walk or go dance, that's ideal. And then you want to limit the amount of food you're getting. So one of the things I noticed in this all-inclusive especially was that people were going back 4 and 5 and 6 times. And I guarantee you, if you sat down with them and said, "Are you really hungry?" they would not be. And yet, they were just it was like unconscious. The food was really, really good. I mean, there was sushi, there was steak, there was shrimp, seafood, continental, everything. So it was kind of like you could eat until you're, you could eat until you're into oblivion. So you just have to be really present, really conscious. And if you have a lot of difficulty doing that, you probably don't want to be staying at an all-inclusive. Then plan for exercise. One of the things I always do is I always look at what are the opportunities. We were on the 4th floor, so I went up and down the stairs to go places. And it was really appeared more than 4 flights of stairs, but what I found was, I was getting a workout. And so you've got to be aware of it. A few years ago, I had a friend of mine who shared that she had gained 50 pounds, and she said, I need your help. Now, weight is such a touchy situation, and it is for all of us. It's like we want to be our ideal weight, hopefully so we can feel better, but also there's a lot of pressure. So if you're in a situation where you say, oh my gosh, I've gained 50 pounds, please don't beat up on yourself. Just start one step at a time, because one step at a time becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes 4. And if you can get to a range, even if you're within 20 pounds of your ideal weight, that's better than 50 pounds. But anyway, she had gained 50 pounds and she said, I need your help. So the thing I always do when people ask for my help and it's a sensitive topic, I'm like, are you sure you want my help? Absolutely. Well, it just so happened we were going to a conference together. She comes to the conference and we were all at dinner. There was a group of us and I said, hey, I'm going to go work out tomorrow. Anyone want to go? And she goes, that's a great idea. But I forgot all my workout clothes. I wondered if people would be working out and I didn't bring anything. So what we've got to do is we've always got to be planning that we're going to be working out. 2 of the places we stayed at, one was 2 of them were residents, and one was an all-inclusive where the weight room, gym room was under construction. So we didn't have a room to go work out. So what you have to do is you have to find opportunities, walking, swimming. One day at one of the places I played water volleyball. In fact, I got more exercise that day probably than any other day. But you got to look at opportunities. When you go on vacation, make sure you plan for it. Get those running shoes, get your running attire. If you have echo shoes where you can walk in them, anything like that, be prepared, because that makes it so much easier to make it happen. And then last but not least, have fun. One of the things I think is that when you're really fun and you're really present and you're enjoying what you're doing, you're a lot less focused on food. And you're a lot more focused on just enjoying the atmosphere, enjoying the people you meet, learning about them, enjoying them. It was so fascinating. We were down in Costa Rica for 3 weeks. I got to meet people from Poland, from UK, from Canada, from Peru, Venezuela. It was just fascinating. And it's amazing what you can learn and how much you can enjoy your experience of meeting people and creating the relationships, and then the focus is more on that than it is the food. So I hope you enjoyed the insight today. So there you have it. Wasn't that good? Simple but good. And now I'm going to give you a couple more insights. So the first thing is you've got to determine what is your ideal weight. All right, we got to know what our ideal weight is. Then what I want you to do is take that ideal weight, add 5 pounds to it, and subtract 5 pounds from it. That gives us our weight range. All right. +5, -5. I want you to weigh yourself first thing in the morning and last thing in the evening, just so you know the fluctuation. I know that when I drink a lot more liquids, boy, I can gain like 3 pounds between morning and evening. So again, it's just to be aware of it. You've got to get adequate sleep. The most important thing you've got to do if you want to lose weight is get adequate sleep. We lose the most weight, we burn the most calories during our sleep. And ideally, you're going to bed, ideally by 9 or 9:30, latest 10, and you're sleeping through the night. The second issue is hormones. What you got to make sure of is if you have some hormone issue, if you're doing everything right, you're not losing weight, then you got to go get that checked, because hormones can have a huge impact not only on your appetite, but also on your ability to lose weight. The third thing is your diet. Making sure you're eating lean protein, organic vegetables, a small amount of complex carbohydrates, healthy fat. All of those things are going to have a dramatic impact. Organic vegetables, everything along those lines. And then exercise. And I recommend that you do cardio, that you do weight training, and you do yoga. Ideally daily cardio and yoga, and then 3 times a week weight training. Now, many of you know I've been on this thing, I've got to start doing weight training, and I'm now on my 4th day, so I'm so excited. I do them I do it like Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and it works for me. And I find the hardest part is to get on the first step to go downstairs in my basement because that's where all my workout stuff is. Once I get down there, it's fine. It's just making that first step to doing it. All right, the next thing we got to do is make sure we're drinking adequate water. One of the things I find is that if I'm drinking adequate water, like I start the day after rinsing out my mouth with coconut oil, I then drink 16 ounces of water. And then I have my first cup of green tea. Then I have my protein shake. And then mid-morning, I have another 16 ounces of water. I try to have another 16 ounces midday. And sometimes I have to set an alarm to remind myself. But I find I'm a lot less hungry when I'm drinking enough water. 50% of your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 140 pounds, you're going to drink 70 ounces of water in a day. If you exercise, you may need more. The next step is drinking in moderation. When we go on trips, sometimes we stay in all-inclusives, and it's been really good for our kids since our kids literally eat 4 times, 5 times as much food as we do, and they love it. But one of the things I always notice whenever I go to one is these people that are drinking foo-foo drinks. And they're not drinking 1, they're not drinking 2. I mean, I counted one person that drank 7 while I was sitting there, and I'm thinking, boy, it's one thing to have a foo-foo drink, and if you feel like having one, have one. 7, do you know how much sugar and junk's in there? If you're gonna drink and you want something to drink, drink a spritzer, like wine with seltzer water or wine with soda water, something along those lines, but drink in moderation. Alternate drinking with water. So you have a drink and then have a glass or a bottle of water. It's huge. Another thing that's really important is that you don't wait to eat until you're starving. That's one thing that's been really hard for me because I'll go and go and go, and then all of a sudden I'm so hungry and I could eat anything in sight. And as you get older, it's much more difficult to do that. Now, these are a couple of critical tips I've learned. One thing is to plan what you're going to eat the next day. So our limbic brain is there to keep things the same, not to burn calories, to conserve calories. So by planning what we're going to eat the next day, it's much better. Creating a routine is huge. I know by clockwork, I have my 16 ounces of water, then I have my protein shake, then I have my green tea. Mid-morning, I will then have a matcha latte. Then I have a protein bar. So it's just kind of like knowing what you do and consistently doing it. Now, as you get older, you don't need nearly as many calories. What I find fascinating is I'll say to myself, am I hungry? And half the time I'm not. But see, it's like I'm bored. So I'm like, okay, I'm bored. All right, if I'm not hungry, then I really don't need to be eating. But just ask yourself, am I hungry? Now, don't wait until you get so hungry that you're famished. But just ask yourself, am I hungry? Now, what I find is if you have earmarked time when you eat, like I typically have my bar between 1 and 3. And so if it's 12:30, I'm like, oh, I can wait another half hour. I'll have some water. And then you don't even think about it. Before you know it, it's 2 or 2:30. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to have my bar. And then, again, if you get hungry, later on in the day, go for a quick walk, a brisk walk, or go and have a cup of turmeric tea, or go and have a latte. Latte, almond milk, 30 calories per cup, matcha powder, probably none, and then either stevia or monk fruit. It's super easy. It's so powerful and so effective. All right, chewing your food. Now, I studied macrobiotics in college, and one of the things they teach you is eat your drink and drink your food. They recommend that you chew your food 200 times per bite. I mean, try doing that. It is so difficult. Like, I can barely do 50. But if you're sick or you have cancer, they don't want you using any energy to digest the food. They want all your energy going to heal you. But it is amazing when you slow down and really concentrate. What are you eating? Don't multitask when you eat. You stop and you are really focused on what are you eating. And ideally, you're eating by 5 or 6, and then you stop eating. If you get hungry, go for a walk, go dancing if you're on vacation, drink a cup of hot herbal tea. That's going to help you a lot. You got to be aware of your food intake. Now, staying at an all-inclusive, if you have trouble with your weight, it's probably not a good idea. It's amazing to me, and I mean, I'm always watching people. I love to watch people, but I mean, I literally saw this person go back to the food court about 4 or 5 times. And I thought, just get a decent plate, eat that, and then stop. It's that simple. And then plan your exercise. Look for opportunities. So when you're present and you're conscious, it becomes a lot easier to choose what you're going to eat, a lot easier to exercise when you're supposed to. But so my friend who said they lost 50 pounds, oh, I need help. And I'm like, are you sure you want my help? I always ask that. Absolutely. So these were a couple of things that I witnessed and I observed. The first thing I said is, we're going to get up and go work out tomorrow. And she goes, oh, I didn't bring any workout exercise or any clothes. So now I'm thinking, well, don't you have walking shoes? Don't you have anything that you could improvise? What about going out and buying some? But see, that's how people that are in shape think. Like, I would never think about going anywhere without my workout clothes, whether I'm going to my beach home or I'm going to my mountain home. Now, fortunately, I have, clothes there and shoes there. But even if I wasn't, if I was going on a vacation, that's the first thing I pack is my shoes, my hiking shoes, my walking shoes, my running shoes, and whatever I need, depending on what the temperature is going to be like. And that's where you got to be thinking is, what are the opportunities? Now, one of the places we went didn't have a workout place. It was under construction. Doesn't matter. You can go walking around, you can go hiking, you can swim. One day I played water volleyball. I got so many calories burnt that day. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable what a workout I did. The next day I was so sore I couldn't believe it. And then one of the most important things you've got to do, gaining confidence, weighing your ideal weight, is working on your worth barometer. You can go to millionaireseries.com/105, but that's your belief in your self-esteem. When you are operating from a higher worth barometer, you're going to weigh your ideal weight because you're doing the things you need to do. When you're not, you justify, you rationalize it, you eat what you shouldn't eat. Like for me, one of my vices is dark chocolate and almonds. And I used to let myself have it after dinner, and then what I found is it really does affect my sleep. So what I do is I let myself having mid-afternoon. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll put some almond butter on it, so it gives me a little more protein, and it doesn't cause me any problems as far as in my sleep. So that is really huge takeaway. And how did I learn that? Just by being present. And by looking at, when I eat, am I hungry? Like this Thanksgiving, I have to say, this is the first Thanksgiving in my entire life where I got done eating and I felt just perfect. Like I didn't feel over full. And I thought, gosh, it's finally clicking in. And fortunately, when I was younger, I didn't weigh my ideal weight, and it was just so tough. And so I've learned the skills that you need to weigh your ideal weight and to really feel good. And one of the things I also have noticed is as you get older, you got to weigh a little bit more, because otherwise you start seeing a lot of wrinkles. As you gain a little weight, your face starts filling out and you do feel better. And then last but not least, have fun. Like, have fun. Weighing your ideal weight should be fun. I love to hike. My husband and I love to hike, and we hike on weekends, and we're even thinking about starting to do it one day a week. And I love doing yoga. In fact, I'm so addicted to yoga. I mean, I've grown, if you've watched any of my videos, I've grown 1.5 inches by doing yoga. That's the power of really finding something you're passionate about and then consistently doing it. So again, I want to invite you to our upcoming Affluent Women and Couples Masterclass, how to get your share of the affluent women and couples market. You can go to millionaireseries.com/affluent. Let's face it, you've got to have confidence, which is what I'm teaching you today. Ideally, you're weighing your ideal weight. And you also got to learn how to effectively work with clients who have money. I'm going to teach you how. So you can go to millionaireseries.com/affluent. One of the questions I get is, how do you get such amazing results in your community? Last year our biggest increase was up 72%. Our biggest increase over our entire time of having our Performance Mastermind, up 765%. Top producers going from 500,000 to 750 to $1 million. Top producers taking their AUM from 120 million to 80 million. Where did it all start? It all started in this masterclass. I kid you not. You can go to millionaireseries.com/affluent and access the Affluent Women and Couples Masterclass. You're going to love that training. Please click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified of future episodes. And then go down. One thing that you have taken away that's going to really help you, all right? I'm going to give you one other insight. So my friend who said she wanted to lose weight, and I shared with you that she came on this event and she didn't have anything to work out with. But the other thing I noticed was the choices she's making. We go to Starbucks, and she got one of those drinks, the large one, and I just know because my kids get it, and every now and then I'll have a drink of it, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so much sugar in it. now they share the calories. It's something like 1,100 calories. I'm like, if you're having 1,100 calories first thing in the morning before you've even started your day, you are sunk. There's no way you're losing weight. Then she got a pastry. Now, part of it was just not having the knowledge, not knowing what to do. We got to start our day, in my opinion, with vegetable protein, something that's going to give us energy, that's going to give us focus, not going to give us a blood sugar swing, and not going to make us hungry. When you eat something like that early in the day, too many carbs, too much sugar, you're going to be hungry all day because they're empty calories. Like 100 calories of an apple versus 100 calories in junk food is not the same density of food. And that's why you get hungry. So again, just being aware of it. Then at lunch, she had a sandwich with bread and French fries versus a salad. I mean, she could have had the same sandwich, just no bread. Like I'll eat a sandwich, like say a chicken sandwich, and I just have lettuce on it because I don't really like bread and I don't eat a lot of gluten. I feel so much better when I don't eat gluten. Again, just being aware. All right, so if you want all the links for today's show, as well as the show notes, you can go to millionaireseries.com/133. For all show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/MI. So thank you so much for joining me today for confidence by maintaining your ideal weight. Now, before you go, I encourage you to click the link above. These trainings are designed to help you to piggyback on where you need support. So click that link and I'll look forward to seeing you on that training. I'm Annette Bau, host of the Millionaire Insider. All international copyrights are reserved. I'll see you on the training. Bye now.